Hello, my name is Atom, and today I bring you a new series about something that has always interested me. The concept of alternate countries. Past, present and future. Countries that could have been created, countries that are being created, and ones that are yet to be created. All country concepts in this video have been based off real-life events, as well as regional cultures, religions, ethnicities and regional identities. Today we will be looking at the Middle East, in particular, regions that seek independence from the country or countries that they form a part of. Due to its numerous conflicts among multiple factions and general instability, the Middle East has an abundance of independence movements, some of which I shall present to you today. Before we begin, I would just like to say that it is not my intention to offend anyone with this video, and if anyone is offended, I apologise in advance. Please feel free to correct any mistakes and give feedback on this video, as much of the video was created from my own knowledge, and I hope you enjoy the video. Palestine. We start with the state of Palestine, one of the most well-known and controversial places in the Middle East. Although many would argue it's already a country, Israel has slowly been taking land from Palestinians and establishing Jewish settlements throughout the predominantly Muslim Palestine, and claim most of what is considered Palestinian territory. However, the biggest factor that drove me to include Palestine on this list is that Israel, the US, a strong ally of Israel, and most other nations do not recognise Palestine as a sovereign nation, with the exception of a few including Sweden, the UK and others. And Palestine only has observer status in the United Nations, meaning it cannot vote on UN resolutions and can only, as the name suggests, observe and comment. It is possible that Palestine will eventually be recognised by a majority of nations and could gain full membership into the United Nations in the future, so long as the United States, a permanent member of the UN Security Council, does not veto its membership due to Israeli refusal to recognise Palestine. The US has done this on behalf of Israel many times before. Kurdistan. The people who inhabit this vast area of the Middle East, known as the Kurds, are the largest group of people in the world not to have their own state. There were plans to establish a Kurdish state after the Second World War, but pressure from surrounding nations who did not want to give away their territory stopped this from happening. The Kurdish people have been fighting for their own country, that they call Kurdistan, ever since. They were relatively unknown to the rest of the world for a long period of time, until recently, when they were praised by the media after the Kurdish security forces, known as the Peshmerga, became the only people actively fighting ISIS on the ground. They have been supplied with weapons by NATO, as well as being supported with drones and taught how to fight more effectively. It is likely that this positive media attention could lead to the recognition of a Kurdish state in the future. Basrastan. This is not necessarily what this country would be called, as I merely named it after the largest province in the area, named Basra, as well as copying their flag, but the concept is possible. I drew these boundaries to split the Sunni Muslims in the west of Iraq, which will probably still be called Iraq if such a split occurred, as it contains the capital Baghdad, and the Shiite, or Shia Muslims in the east of Iraq, which I have named Basrastan. The Sunni Muslims and Shiite Muslims split from each other after the death of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when Sunni Muslims believed they should elect his successor, and the Shiite Muslims believed his son should be the successor, and that it should stay in his family. There has been friction and multiple wars between them ever since. The current borders of Iraq originate from when Iraq was a mandate of the British Empire, after former Ottoman land was given to Britain and France after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. They were most likely drawn to divide oil deposits equally between them, with France taking what is now Lebanon and Syria, and Britain taking what is now Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Iraq and Kuwait. It is possible that when, or if, Iraq ever stabilises, that the country could split between the Sunnis in the west, the Shiites in the east, as well as the Kurds in the far north. Alawite. Alawite was originally a state within the French territory of Syria, along with Aleppo, Damascus and Jebel Druze, which we will discuss later. The division of Alawite from the rest of Syria was most likely due to the same reason that I explained with Basrastan. Alawite is predominantly Shiite Muslim, while the rest of Syria is predominantly Sunni Muslim. This means it is possible that when, or if, Syria ever stabilises, that Alawite could split from Syria based on the religious divide. Khuzestan. Khuzestan was the birthplace of the Persian Empire and is one of the most ethnically diverse places in the Middle East. All of this contributes to it being one of the most cultural places on earth. This gives a strong identity to the people of Khuzestan. There have been various points in history that Khuzestan could have become an independent nation, and it is still possible, although it will most likely be at some point in the future. If the Iranian government were to collapse, or a revolution to arise, then Khuzestan would most likely secede from Iran. Druze. Druze was originally a state in the French territory of Syria, which at the time was known as Jabal Druze. It has recently seen a rise in an independence movement due to the ongoing Syrian civil war. The current flag of Druze is a slightly altered version of the original flag of Jabal Druze. This was to make it a similar style to other Arab countries around them. In the original flag, instead of the green triangle on the left, there was a green stripe at the top, making it, in my opinion, similar to the LGBT rainbow flag. Kingdom of Fujaira. This is mostly a historical possibility rather than a future one, but it could happen if, for example, the United Arab Emirates, which it is a part of, were to collapse, or if the region gains a strong enough independence movement. There is also a small chance that they could become part of Oman in the distant future through a union or maybe even an invasion, but that is unlikely to happen anytime soon. When the UAE, formerly the Trucial State, gained independence from Britain, it is possible that Fajaira would not have joined the newly founded UAE due to original identity, and would instead become an independent kingdom, or, as mentioned, become part of Oman instead. Thank you very much for watching, and, as mentioned, please leave constructive criticism and or point out my mistakes. I hope you enjoyed anyway, and goodbye.